You ever have a day so good, so right, it felt like the universe itself smiled down on you? That was me, 14 years old, striding down Holloway Avenue with a wicker basket filled with warm, homemade apple pies. Not for me. No, sir. These pies were for the veterans down at the Fairfield home. My grandma, Miss Lillian Grant, baked them that morning, humming Otis Redding while she worked, her fingers crooked with arthritis but moving with stubborn pride. "Micah, you tell them thank you," she said, wrapping the last pie with slow, steady hands. "Even if this country forgot him, we don't." She tucked the foil tight, patted it like a blessing. "And you walk proud, boy. Shirt tucked, head high. You're carrying more than pie. You hear me?" And I heard her. I wasn't just delivering dessert. I was carrying history, respect, gratitude, everything my grandma ever taught me about honor. I wore my Sunday shirt, stiff with starch. My sneakers gleamed. My back was straight as a soldier's. Folks noticed. "Mister." Reed from the corner store nodded. Miss Denise waved from her porch, cigarette bobbing between her fingers. A man in a rusted Dodge pickup even slowed down, offered me a lift. I smiled, shook my head. "Thank you, sir. I'm good," because I wanted to do this with my own 2 feet. 3 blocks away, almost there. Then it happened. Screech of tires. Doors slamming. A police cruiser cut across the road like a shark scenting blood. No sirens. Just a white blur and sudden fear exploding in my chest. 2 officers, both white, both flushed with anger, burst out like I was a wanted fugitive. One was tall with a face like a slab of meat. The other short, thick-necked, eyes like pinpricks. "Hands on your head," one bellowed. I froze. I mean frozen like a deer in headlights. In my grandma's world, black boys don't get second chances. I bent slow, real slow, and lowered my basket like I was laying down a newborn. Then I raised my hands. Elbows high, palms out. Didn't matter. First blow hit my shin. Hard. I collapsed, gasping. Before I could say a word, a fist drove into my ribs. The breath whooshed out of me like a deflated balloon. I wasn't fighting. Wasn't running. Wasn't resisting. I was carrying pies. Didn't matter. They tackled me hard. Gravel tore my cheek. A knee pinned my back. Another jammed into my neck. "Stop resisting," they yelled like a chant. Like a script. I wasn't resisting anything except gravity. They yanked my arms backward so viciously I thought they'd tear off. My body jerked and spasmed under their weight. Somewhere nearby, a woman screamed, "He's a kid. He's a baby." I saw my basket roll away. One pie had exploded, purple fillings smeared across the sidewalk like bruises. The smell of sugar mixed with blood made me gag. The cuffs bit into my wrists. They hauled me up like dirty laundry. My legs buckled. My shoulder burned. My body was trembling, twitching like it wasn't mine anymore. The faces around Meshik, horror, helplessness. A man opened his mouth to speak, but said nothing. Just stood there silent. And the whole time, one thought pounded through my skull. I didn't do a damn thing. 12 minutes. That's how long I lay crumpled on the asphalt before the ambulance came. 12 minutes of betrayal. The EMTs were cautious, almost scared to touch me. Like I might break apart worse than I already had. At the hospital, everything smelled too clean. The lights too bright. They wheeled me past buzzing machines and muttering nurses. I couldn't speak. Could barely breathe. But I heard. Spine fractured. Arms broken. Ribs snapped like brittle twigs. Ankles twisted. Jaw shattered. 29 separate breaks. That's not a fall. That's a beating. A destruction. Outside, my mother, Alana Grant, folded onto the hospital floor, sobbing so hard no sound came out. Meanwhile, the local news ran a headline like it was nothing. Teen attacks officers. Officers defend themselves. Suspected weapon. Suspected weapon. I guess a basket of homemade pies looked real threatening. Footage from bystanders started disappearing. Posts wiped clean. Videos erased. One neighbor said 2 men in suits came to his house, told him to delete it for your own safety. The official story? A tragic misunderstanding. The real story? My body broken in a hospital bed. And my mama? She wasn't having it. She marched into the police station with a silver flash drive in her hand. Set it down like a bomb. "This is the truth," she said, voice like a whip crack. Clear video. Clear audio. Me. Hands up. Basket on the ground. No threat. No crime. Just violence. When the sergeant tried to dodge, tried to bluff, my mother leaned in close and said, "You're looking at the face of a mother who ain't got nothing left to lose. Say it. Say it looks bad." He didn't, but his silence was louder than words. That night, my mother called every activist, every lawyer, every journalist she could find. One answered, Kennedy Rhodes, a reporter with fire in her belly and receipts in her back pocket. Within 48 hours, the world knew my name. Micah Grant, the boy they tried to erase. The boy with 29 broken bones. And suddenly, Fairfield wasn't quiet anymore. People poured into the streets, nurses, teachers, bus drivers, pastors, holding candles, holding signs, holding each other. Justice for Micah. 29 breaks, 0 excuses. They surrounded the precinct. They sang. They prayed. They demanded. And when the DA saw the fire they lit, he couldn't stay silent. "We are filing criminal charges," he said. Officers Howard and Dixon. The city shook. 2 cops indicted. For the first time anyone could remember, the badge didn't win. In the courtroom, the jury watched the footage, winced at the x-rays, wept at my mother's testimony. The defense had nothing. No shield strong enough. No lie big enough. And when the judge slammed his gavel down and said guilty, the gallery didn't cheer. They stood for me. For every kid who ever walked right and still got crushed. For every mama who ever prayed over broken bones and broken hearts. When the verdict came, I didn't smile. I lifted my chin. Not a victim. A survivor. A witness. A reckoning. And outside the courthouse, beneath a sky no longer empty, my mother held my hand, lifted it high, and said, "This is not the end. This is only the beginning." And it was. Because some stories don't fade. Some stories burn. Some stories change the world. And mine? Mine is just getting started.